Hey kids, this is Ivan. How you doing? Well, I'm going to say something really revolutionary. Revolutionary for me, maybe not for other people. But as I mentioned in the video I did yesterday on balance of power, I've definitely kind of made my peace with starting characters in OSR games at a higher level than level 1. And if you've watched my channel, you've heard me talk about this off and on, where it's always felt a little bit like cheating to me. You know, whether I'm letting other people start their characters at say something like third level. We'll use level 3 or 4 as our example here, as opposed to first level. It certainly always felt like cheating for me to start a character that way. And the rationale I've always given, and which I still stand behind a little bit, is that it always feels a little bit like cheating because I wasn't there for that experience. The life experiences that character had that enabled them to become more experienced, you know, mechanically in the game, be better at what they do. I wasn't there for that, you know. And of course, I've always kind of laughed at myself saying, well, I wasn't there for the first 20 years of their life. I'm not sure why I should feel guilty about that. You know, I've only put this character on. We've only met a little while ago. Um, but I started to think more and more about my intention for, like, why do I want to play these OSR games? Why do I want to introduce other people to them? You know, I've made a whole tutorial about OSR games recently, and a lot of this was based on, you know, just a conversation, you know, had back and forth with Lee, you know, Lee Rimmer, Lee, your humble game master. I say, hey, well, you know, let me just kind of at least put my perspective on this. And there's people that I'm still talking to, like, hey, we should get together, we should play this, you know, as soon as we both have enough time, and I get my, you know, crap together, I'll run a game of this or two. So what part of that OSR experience am I really trying to promote? Am I trying to promote the zero to hero effect and the very low end of the zero hero effect, where if you walk around a corner, you might die? You know, do I really want to give them an experience like Cervantes had in the Iron Falcon game I played in with Dark Age of Roleplay game with Jason, where I opened the door in our first round of combat and I died? And don't get me wrong, that was awesome. But is that what I really want? I've been playing these games for a long time. I didn't mind. I just played the lackey. But is that really what I want to promote to the brand new person? Because that's not the experience I want to show them. The experience I want to show them is how something like that's rules light works. How you don't have to be trapped by, or you know, have to play within the constraints of a lot of what people have now associated with Dungeons and Dragons, where it's a much bigger tactical exercise when it comes to combat, where there's all these skills you have to look at, where there's, you know, where it becomes more complicated. And there's nothing wrong with those games. I'm not knocking those, but when I'm talking about the OSR experience, what is the OSR experience to me? In a lot of ways, it is that kind of lighter flavor. So if we're going to play those OSR games that are based on D20, that's when I want to show them. You know, you can still get that OSR flavor in other games. You know, I believe you can in something like Dungeon World or in Advanced Fighting Fantasy. But if I want to experience and show, like, what is this like using the old classic rules, well, this is what I'm really trying to get at, not, you know, how is it at first level. So I'm a little bit, you know, I kind of made my peace with maybe starting characters out at third level or fourth level. certainly when we did that Lamentations of the Elven Princess, you know, a little play on words that my friend came up with, game where I you know, game mastered that. You know, one of the other players said, hey, why don't we start at third level, so at least we have a chance of living through a combat. And I said, sure, and that was fun. They started out more competent, and that's cool. And it turns out we never really used a heck of a lot of that competence, but it was available should they need it. Because obviously, you start out in these OSR games, you can die with one swing of a sword. And so what does it really give you when you start out at something like third or fourth level? Well, you have some more hit points. The characters can survive a few blows before they go down, which is really good. Gives them time to make some decisions, run away. If you're in the case of like a fighter or combatant, you know, especially in Lamentations of the Flame Princess, where only they go up in attack bonus, but other games, everybody does to a degree. Okay, well, you're a little bit better at offensive combat now. Maybe your saving throws are better, so another defensive bonus. Most of these advantages are defensive. Or your basic competence, like if you're a thief, specialist, rogue, whatever you want to call them, okay, we've developed some competence at those skills. You don't have those pretty poor skills that you start out in the beginning. You're a spellcaster, well, you've got a few more spells. So you're not just a one-shot wonder. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if I want to show somebody what the OSR experience is like, and if I want to experience that with people, because once again, I said this maybe a year and a half ago when I started making videos again. Maybe it's close to 2 years ago now. Don't have a lot of time. You know, we're older. We don't have a lot of time. We just want to get down to the darn point. So why not start them out a little bit, you know, heavier, you know, a little higher level. So if we're going to play something like Delving Deeper or Labyrinth Lord or Swords and Wizardry White Box, right? Or Swords and Wizardry. or basic fantasy role-playing game, or even Lamentations of the Flame Princess. And I didn't take it off the shelf. But just where is it? Can I point to it? Yeah, Astonishing Swordsman and Sorcerer Viperborea. Why not start them out at 3rd level or 4th level? Give them a little bit more of a fighting chance, and let's experience what the OSR experience is all about. So I've made my peace with that. And so, hopefully when we start up some adventures here online with some people, and very hopefully, in person, I think I'll give them the opportunity to do that. And so we're not constantly rolling up new characters, because I want to get to the meat of what the experience is, which isn't necessarily dying all the time. Sure, that's part of it, but I'm pretty zen about it because I've done this for a long time. But if I want to have some fun with some other people, they're going to spend their valuable time with me. Let's make it a little bit more fun for them. So that's kind of my take on this at this point. And really, what I really learned to kind of make my peace with this is like games like Ubiquity, where I realize these characters are already starting out a little bit above the average person. Yeah, the average person might have a score of 2 in every ability score and have 10 skill points to spread around and 1 talent, whereas a starting character, well, they've got 3 more ability points, to put in their ability scores, and 5 more skill points, and another talent. They're not head and shoulders above other people, but they certainly are more competent. And you can definitely, if you create 2 characters side by side, you can definitely make the second one, the starting character, a lot better than average Joe. So that's kind of really what I'm looking for. Nothing gigantic. We're going to start at some ridiculous level, but slightly more competent. You make it a little bit more survival and fun, and get to the real meat of the experience. So, Heresy, you tell me,